Have you ever scheduled your day intending to be super productive and do a ton of work, only to find yourself sitting at your desk, putting out fires, working on what's urgent, not important, and by the end of the day you realise you completely abandoned your schedule? At selfmastery.co, I've coached entrepreneurs from 6 to 8 figures, and I constantly see how easily their schedules spiral into chaos. So in this video, I'm going to show you why you can't stick to your schedule and give you a proven system that guarantees you'll be able to stick to it no matter how many fires you have to fight or how much you have to do. Let's dive in. Do you ever wonder why no matter how many times you try to stick to your schedule, it just doesn't work? You sit down, you plan your day, convince yourself that this time will be different, that you're going to stick to it, but of course that just doesn't happen. And maybe you've even gotten to the point where you just don't even plan your day anymore at all because you think, oh, there's no point. And look, it is super easy to blame distractions, unexpected problems, team members, clients, fires, or just being too busy. But the real reason why your day spirals into chaos every single time, it's much deeper than those excuses. And if you want to solve this problem, take back control of your time, you must, and I mean must, understand why the problem exists. Because if you think about it, you cannot solve a problem without knowing what the root cause is, otherwise it just reappears. So imagine you made a commitment to meet a business partner at 10 AM. You shake hands, you agree on the time, and they even adjust their whole schedule around it. And so you go home fully prepared to turn up tomorrow at 10 AM, but then when the time comes, you just don't show up, right? No call, no text, you just do something else instead. Maybe you sit and you scroll your phone or answer emails or deal with a client question, or you take over an employee's job and pick up the slack. That's pretty absurd, right? You'd quite literally never do that. And this is what I notice with my clients all the time, which, by the way, if you want to master your business, systems, and mental performance so you can scale faster than ever whilst working less, you can click the first link in the description below to work with me. But anyway, so often my clients come to me struggling to stick to their schedule, except for external commitments or the likes of calls or meetings where other people are involved. They typically have absolutely zero issue with showing up. In fact, they're typically great at it. They're there early, they're prepared, etc, etc. So first off, that just proves that you can stick to your schedule. If you plan for the likes of a call at 10 AM and you turn up, guess what? That is all the proof in the world that you're capable of following a plan. And if you didn't show up, you'd see it as unprofessional, damaging to your reputation, and quite frankly, disrespectful. That person set aside time to meet you and you just didn't show up. You would never do it because of how it disrespects that person. So answer me this, why do you do it to yourself? You see, what are you doing every single time you schedule your day? You are quite literally pre-deciding what actions you'll take during that time to move toward your goals. And think of it like this. The only thing you can control in this life are your actions. Okay, that is quite simply it. You can only control the things that you do. And so since your actions are the only thing you can control, when you pre-decide to do something by scheduling your day and then you go against that plan, you're quite literally saying that you do not value the potential impact of your actions or the potential impact they could have, because your schedule, at least if you're scheduling correctly, should be designed for impact. And if you avoid it, it's because you don't value the impact your actions could have on your life and business and in turn the world. Not to be cringe, but in turn the world, right? And if you don't value something, you do not respect it, quite simply. If you do not respect the one thing you can control in this life, if you do not value the one thing you can control in this life, your actions, you do not value yourself, and in turn you do not respect yourself. You don't value yourself and the impact that you could have, the control that you could have over how this one life you have turns out. The worst thing about this is that it creates a self-fulfilling negative cycle. Think about it like this, okay? If you break your schedule, you disrespect yourself, which lowers your self-respect, which means you value the potential impact of your actions even less because you respect yourself less, and therefore you're less likely to stick to your schedule and do the thing you know you need to do in the future, further ruining your self-respect, creating this negative spiral. And, you know, I know some of you are watching this and are going to be thinking, Ross, you're looking too deep into this, bro. It's not that deep. Well, is it not? Is it not? Let me hear your bloody argument. Like, if you plan to do something, take an action that is going to create and impact and move you toward the thing that you want to achieve in this one damn life that you have, and then you don't do it. You decide to actively go against a decision that you made and instead do some mindless hedonistic pleasure or work on something that doesn't move the needle just because it's easier and you've convinced yourself that you need to do it right now, then what are you doing if you're not disrespecting yourself? And like, this isn't conscious, okay? It's not as if you realize this consciously in the front of your mind. Of course not. This is the primal egotistical side of you that recognizes this, and it's why it influences your actions without you realizing. It's why you find yourself just not doing things you know you need to do, and it's why you've no idea why you're not doing them. It's because at some level you don't respect yourself enough to do it. Because if you did respect yourself enough to do the thing, you would just do it. You would see the potential impact that your actions can, could, and do have, and you would value that bloody impact. Follow your schedule and do the work that you know you need to do, the work that changes you, your business, or the world. And yes, this is quite tough, okay? This is me, like some random stranger on the internet telling you that you don't respect yourself. And that it can come across rude, it can come across tough, and I don't mean it like that. I mean it just to wake you up to the problem, okay? Because like I said at the start, you can't solve a problem if you're not aware of the root cause, and this is the root cause of the problem. And look, I get, you know, even if you do respect yourself, especially when you run a business, things still just like pop up. Clients need answers, a team member makes a mistake, a last minute opportunity or call shows up, whatever it is, right? So of course we have to account for that, because if you don't have a structured way to deal with these things, you'll keep reacting, jumping from one fire to the next, in turn breaking your schedule, in turn disrespecting yourself, until your whole day is gone and tomorrow is even harder. And here's where it gets dangerous, okay? Every single time you abandon your schedule to put out fires or procrastinate or do something stupid, pointless tasks or hedonistic pleasures, it reinforces the belief that your time is not yours and you have no control, and that sticking to your schedule is bloody impossible, which, by the way, is wrong, okay? Remember from earlier how if you can show up to a pre-scheduled meeting, you know, if you have a sales call, a team meeting, a client call on your schedule and you can show up to it, you can show up for your own damn schedule. But basically breaking your schedule to do something that feels productive but isn't feeds into the negative, self-fulfilling, low self-respect cycle. Because you plan your day, right? Something then urgent pops up, or you decide to do something different, a different task because it's easier and you've convinced yourself you'll do the harder, important task later, which you never do. So you drop your plan, you handle the fire or do that stupid task. Now you've just shown yourself your schedule does not matter, so why bother following it for the rest of the day or tomorrow or the next day or ever? This cycle destroys your ability to stay disciplined, stick to your schedule. And it's also why starting your day on a win is so important. If you can start your days doing something that is self-respecting, like a deep work block on an important task, you're so much more likely to stick to it for the rest of the day. You start high and it's easier to stay high. But if you start low, you have to crawl up that bloody mountain like Sisyphus rolling the boulder up the hill. And every time you get near the top, it rolls down to the bottom. It doesn't work. You start high, it's easy to stay high. Anyway, how do you fix this? How do you deal with the likes of fires that pop up? Well, quite simply, you trap the damn fires. So what you need to do is set a hard stop time for your work. So, you know, what time do you want to stop working at? I could go into a ton of reasons why this is a good idea to implement, but I'm not going to. Just do it. Set a time where after it, you don't do any work. It can be 12 p.m, 9 p.m, 4 p.m, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's entirely up to you. The last hour before your hard stop time, so let's say your hard stop time is 6 p.m. The last hour from 5 p.m to 6 p.m is known as your daily wrap, where instead of handling fires and emails and problems immediately as they come up, you just write them down and you do them later in the daily wrap block. That way, what happens is you don't ignore problems. They still get handled, okay? But you don't react instantly, making you break your schedule and ruin your focus, so you can stick to your schedule, reinforcing self-respect and allowing you to stay focused on your priorities. Then finally, you don't lose momentum, because everything has a time and a place. Now, at first, this will feel uncomfortable because you're used to just jumping in the second something comes up, and so you think like, oh, if I don't deal with it right now, it's not going to get dealt with, but it's a pile of crap, okay? After 1 or 2 days of doing this daily wrap, you'll realize how much more in control you feel, how much more control you actually have, never mind feel, how much more you get done and how much better you feel, all because you're respecting yourself, your time and your actions by not breaking your schedule, you're sticking with your boundaries, and you're still dealing with the problems and fires that pop up, just in a specified time and not randomly. And guess what? If most of your problems or fires are to do with employees who just, come to you with every problem, if you make this clear to them, because that's one thing you definitely should do. A lot of people, they have expectations of the likes of clients or employees, and they don't make that expectation clear. So that person does not, that employee, that client does not rise to the expectation, and therefore the entrepreneur gets annoyed. But it's like, how can you expect someone to rise to the expectations if you do not make your expectations clear? Okay. So let people know that you're only going to deal with fires or problems, or you're going to get back to them if they come to you with a problem at this daily wrap time at 5 p.m. say. That way, guess what? They'll actually go and take some initiative and solve the problem themselves. Because what happens is, if an employee has a problem or a client has a problem, they come to you straight away, you help them straight away. Okay. And that seems like a really good thing. It seems really innocent, but what you're doing is you're training, and this is especially bad with employees, you're training them to just rely on you. Oh, a problem comes up, I'll just go to Ross. I'll just go to, whoever. I'll go to the entrepreneur. They'll go to you. But that obviously takes you out of focus. It means you can't focus on your high leverage work. So it's bad. So once you start using the daily wrap and you make this clear, this is what you're doing, that you're only going to deal with problems and that you'll get back to your employees or clients at this set time, they'll go and actually take their initiative and solve the problems, and therefore you won't actually have as many problems to deal with as well. Okay. When you do this, you're essentially saying, I'm in control, not these problems or other people or emails or whatever, and you will never go back. Now, depending on the nature of your business and how fast things have to flow, you may need 2 of these blocks. So for example, I have a client who's a lawyer, and sometimes they get problems that actually need dealt with before the court case starts in 2 hours. So they need 2 daily wraps. Really, a morning wrap at like 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and a daily wrap at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Most businesses, and I truly mean both, most businesses don't need 2. They only need 1. Okay, that final end of the day daily wrap. Do it. You'll change how you operate forever, because you've just removed one of those major reasons or excuses for drifting away from your schedule. And now you might be thinking, this all sounds great, Ross, but how do I actually make this a habit? How can I use this? Well, obviously use the daily wrap concept as it is, as I explained it, and I mean use it, okay? Tomorrow, just do it. Just can do it. But the other thing is to realize that if you see your schedule as a simple to-do list, you will feel every time simple, you will. But if you see your schedule and your ability to stick to it as a reflection of your identity, your self-respect, and your ability to control your life, business, and future, suddenly everything changes. It stops being about what's on the schedule and starts being about who you are as a person, because your ability to stick to your schedule shows your self-respect, and therefore your ability to control your life and who you are as a person. Okay. Some people will crumble under this pressure, but if you cannot rise to the responsibility of simply sticking to your damn schedule, you're probably not cut out for business. Simple. When you have a business, people rely on you, your clients, your customers, your employees, your family, etc. Okay. If you cannot take on the responsibility of rising to your bloody schedule, you're probably not cut out for business. That's the harsh truth. I apologize, but it needs said. Would someone who respects themselves abandon their commitments? Would a leader let themselves get thrown off track every time something unexpected happens? No, they wouldn't. If you arranged a meeting at 10 a.m. with someone else, you wouldn't not turn up. So why do it to yourself? If you can show up for someone else, you can bloody well show up for yourself, man. And look, if you want to build self-respect, start by doing something that you know you need to do, regardless of how small it is or how much you don't want to do it. Building that by sticking to your word, following your schedule, and doing what needs done, not what is easy. Focus on each task, problem, and challenge as it comes, and I mean as it comes. Focus on what you have to do right now, not later, because that might be overwhelming and scary, because you might have a ton to do later. But if you just focus on what you're doing right now and realize you get to do this, you get to run a business and work on things you enjoy, this is a privilege. So focus on what you're doing right now, rising to it as best as you can, and leaning into any resistance as a sign of what to face, not what to avoid, and self-respect will come as a byproduct. Prove to yourself that you're capable of not only doing more, but doing better, rising to a higher level and ignoring hedonistic impulses, the path of least resistance, and the seat of comfort. Whether that means, you start by planning one task in one specific hour and doing it, and then tomorrow you plan 2 tasks in 2 specific hours, or you turn off your phone until 12 p.m, or you focus without distraction on revamping your systems for 6 hours straight, okay? Right now, the The level you rise to does not matter, but the intention of rising does. Over time, you will respect yourself more, and if you respect yourself, doing the work and sticking to your schedule doesn't even feel like doing the work. It feels like an extension of you because it is you. So don't be afraid to start small. Build trust in yourself, okay? Because when your schedule is no longer just a plan but a reflection of your character, sticking to it becomes effortless. Now, as a business owner, one thing you can do to make this so much easier is build systems, because they'll streamline everything, they'll lower the friction to doing the work. So if you want to learn how to build systems so that your business can run without you, click the video on screen, watch it right now, and I'll see you in the next one.